Everyone is here? Hello, can you hear me? Just give me a confirmation in the chat. Yes, sir. Thanks for the confirmation. Okay. Let's just start in a minute. Let me wait for a minute for your friends to join because we have like low attendance today. Okay, let's just start. I'm going to share my screen and please have a look at the screen and then we'll move further. Okay, if anyone has any problem with the linear regression, please let me know in the chat so that if you have problem, we can repeat it again. If anyone has any type of problem in linear regression, please let me know in the chat. If you are clear, then also let me know in the chat so that we can proceed further. We'll also discuss the assignment today which we have given to you in the last class. Visualizations once again. Okay, we'll visualize. Okay, let's start with the visualization only. Okay, so what according to you is regression basically first? Let me know in this. What according to you guys is a regression? What according to you guys is a regression basically? Okay, see one thing. In linear regression, what we do, basically, we have some features. We can have only have one feature. We can have 2 or 10 or 20 features, depending on which we have to get an output, which we define by the equation y equals to mx plus c. It can be m1 x1 plus, sorry for the disturbance, m2 x2 plus C. Okay. So see, in this case, we have two features based on which I have to decide my output. These two features are x1 and x2. Okay. So if we plot a graph between x1, x2, and y, okay, suppose this is my x1 point and x2 point with the y coordinate. So this is my x1 or x2, whatever you can think of, and this is y, my output. Okay. So I have multiple points based on x1, x2, and y. I have some points taken. But I have given with I have provided with the sum of the points. So based on that points, I have to predict a best fit line, okay, which will predict or which will give me a clear output for the future points of x1 and x2. Okay, I have to predict a line which will give me the best possible output for the future points of x1 and x2, so that I can predict the value of y in future. Okay, so see, this is the blue line I have drawn is my best fit line. Okay, blue line I have drawn is my best fit line, and I will do this with the help of this linear regression. So basically, the regression means I have to predict continuous output. I've already told you in machine learning that regression means in introduction to machine learning class that regression means I have to predict continuous output. Like I have to predict output like 1, then 1.2, then 1.3, 2, 4, so on. So if I have to predict this continuous output, it is known as regression. Okay. And to predict this regression line or this continuous output, we follow a machine learning algorithm known as linear regression. Okay. And in linear regression, we do nothing but we just generally split our data in two different parts, which is X and Y part, and we provide this half part, training and testing part. Okay. We provide a half part for a training in which for which we make our model. Okay, for which the training part decide what will be the value of M and what will be the value of C, and based on the value of M and C, we test our data with the remaining part or with the testing part. Okay, and if you want to get a clear visualization, let me just okay this GitHub link, let me just copy this link and provide you in the chat. Yes, continuous numerical data. Okay. See, I have provided you a GitHub link in your chat. Please click on that link and go through that link. So on that link, we can see what is basically gradient descent. Okay, what is basically gradient descent? Okay, so gradient descent is nothing else but an iteration, a method to find the best value of M and C, or in this case, we are getting it value of B, so that we can find a best fit line and we can minimize the error. Okay, we already know that we calculate the error with the mean square error rule. Okay, that mean square error is nothing but the difference between the original point and the predicted point. Okay, the error, mean square error, is basically the difference between the original point and the predicted point. That what is the difference between the distances of the original point and the predicted point. Okay, let me just draw this again. Let me just draw my line. Suppose this is my line. Okay, this is my linear line, and now the distance between these point which are live, which is the predicted value. This line is my predicted values, and the difference of distance between this line and this original values, if I calculate the difference and square it and find the mean of it, then it's known as mean square error, MSC, which was given by y, which is my original value, minus y bar or y hat, which is my predicted value. I will do the square of it, do the summation of it for all the points from I is starting from 1 to n, and then find the mean, divide by n. Okay, this is known as mean square error. So in this visualization figure, you can see that I am trying to find the best value of m and c. Here c is denoted by b. Okay, you can see that I am trying to find the best value of m and c. Here c is denoted by b, or you can say m and b, to find my best fit line so that this MSC is minimum, mean squared error is minimum. Okay, which you can say that is the mean square is the error, and I want to make the error minimum, which is also known as gradient descent. Okay, I've already told you this is which is also known as gradient descent, the minimum error. Okay, so I'm repeating here, hit 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times, 50 times, 60 times, and you can see the value of m and c are changing. You can see the value of m and c changing. Okay, the value of c is now fixed, and the value of m is now changing only. We have done 180 times, we have done 980 times, and around 200 times. Okay, see, after 1000 iterations, we are able to get a value of c to be 0.08 and value of m to be 1.4. Okay, and you can see this, that the initial error was 5565. Okay, the initial error was 5565, but after this 1000 iterations, after running this 1000 different times with different values of m and c, we are now able to minimize this error to 112. Okay, from 5565 we have minimized this error to 1112, or only 112, sorry. From 5565 we have able to minimize this error to 112. Okay, anyone having any doubt, please let me know. Till this point, is this clear to you all? The visualization part is clear to you all, guys? Please let me know in the comment or in the chat. Okay, clear. Okay, so you can see we have done this with the salary, year of experience, and salary part. We have done the same with the year of experience and salary part. We have tried to divide in training and testing part. We're trying to find the linear model of it. We're dividing with 75% of the values. We can do this with 80% of the values also. Let me do it with 80% of the values. Okay, let's just run this code again. Okay, 80% of the data. Now my X train size is 24 and test size is 6. Okay, now I will try to import that linear regression from sklearn library. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what is sklearn library also. Okay, see this y predicted, y test. In this, I am plotting is the scatter plot. The dots you are seeing are the X train and Y train, the X and Y values, and this blue line. Okay, this blue line is the X values and the Y value predicted from that X values. Okay, which will give me a straight line. Okay, which will give me a straight line because it will follow some y equals to mx plus c. And if you want to get m and c, you can just do with the help of intercept and coefficient. Okay, see here, this is of for my training data and this is for my testing data. That's on this 6 points I'm going to test, and on this 6 point I'm getting this type of result. The 3 values are below, 1 value is above, and 2 values lies on the point. Okay, if I want to check the intercept and coefficient, so this is my intercept and coefficient. And now if I'm going to check that what is my mean square error, okay, what is my mean square error, so you can see that this is going to be my mean square error, which is quite high. Okay, because this is not an actual data set, this is just a created data set. Okay, this is the data set I have created for the understanding of this linear regression. This is not an actual data set. But when we try to apply this on an actual data set, okay, when we try to apply this on an actual data set, let's see. This is the data set I have given you as an assignment. Okay, I think most of you have submitted the assignment. Okay, now let's check that what is the output or what is the error we are getting from this linear regression part on this actual data set. Okay, this is a data set of Boston. Okay, of house price prediction. This is a very famous data set of machine learning algorithm. Okay, so we are going to predict the price of an house based on different features available in this data set. Okay, we are now only not only taking this one feature, but we are taking here 11 to 12 different features. Okay, see, I'm printing the shape of the data set. There is data set consists of 506 rows and 13 columns. Means it has 506 different values. Okay, we are going to then print the features. These are the different features. I don't understand what these features are currently. Now I'm printing the target values. This is target value. This is the prices I have to predict. This is all the 506 prices. Now to understand these features, what are the features? I'm going to print the describe function. Okay, the describe function does not work with all the sets. Okay, keep in mind that describe function does not work with all the set. It works with only the set which have the described included in them. Okay, if this describe function does not working, you have to just load the set and just have to do shift and tab to see the output. What is this data set? You have to see this output only from here. And if it is given that describe function it is here, then you can check the describe function of it. Okay, so from the describe function, okay, from the describe function we are able to see that what are these values. Okay, so the first feature, number of instances, we have 506. Number of attributes, we have 13. Numerical and categorical values. Okay, so the first value was per capita crime rate. Okay, in that particular area, what is the crime rate? Okay, then the second feature was proportional of land, residential land zone. Okay, so second feature is how much land is residential land from the from over 25,000 feet. Okay, so if we have a 25,000 feet land, from that 25,000 feet, then how much land is fixed for residents, how much land is fixed for park, how much land is fixed for commercial buildings. Okay, non-retail business, how much non-retail business are happening in nearby position. Okay, these are some dummy variables. Land, then average number of rooms per dwelling. Okay, how many rooms are available per building or per house. Okay, how many rooms are available per building or per house. Then age, what is the age of the users, what's the average age of the users. Okay, what is the distance from the employment center or the main buildings you can think of. Okay, what is the tax, what's the tax of that particular area, what's the land tax, house tax or building tax, whatever the type of tax is, what's the tax, and what is the median value of occupied owners. Okay, from the 1,000 houses, how many houses are occupied by their owners. Okay, so you can find this data from this USLE repository. This is a very famous repository from where you can find multiple different types of data set. Okay, from this repository, if you are going to just click on this link, you are going to find this multiple different data sets based on this UCL repository. Okay, See, this repository consists of multiple different types of features and consists of a large amount of data set. Okay, what type of data set you want? Okay, so we are discussing basically on regression, and in for regression they have 134 different types of data set which you can try and check how to improve your regression value or how to minimize your error. Okay, I'm just providing this link again in the chat. This is our chat. Okay, now let's try to apply this linear regression data set. Okay, so I've imported this data set with a variable name boss. Okay, I'm checking the top 5 values with the help of head. Now I'm dividing this data set into x and y part, where the x part will be my all the features and the y part will be my price, which will be my last feature, this 12 feature. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm just importing my linear regression model and dividing this dataset into test and train part. And what is the difference I'm taking? I'm taking this 30, the test size will be 33% of a dataset. Okay, test size will be 33%. Let's just reduce it to 30%. Okay, the test size will be 30% and the training size will be 70%. And this random state 5, okay, the random state 5 which you are able to see here, okay, this random state 5 means that if I am providing a random number 5 and whatever the values I'm going to get, if you are providing the same number, the same features you are going to get, because when we divide in test and train part, we take randomly the values. This value will be in the training part and this value will be in the testing part. So to get the same random features or the same random values in your command also, we use this random state equals to 5. If I'm writing this random state equals to 5 and you are also writing this random state equals to 5, then you are also going to get the same values inside your system. Okay, you are going to get the same values inside your system. Okay, this is why we use this random state. Okay, and the values of x train and y train won't be changing once you are going to repeat this step again and again. Okay, now I've predicted the values with the help of, I'm saving this predicted values in y predict. Okay, now I'm again going to plot the graph. Okay, I'm again going to plot the graph between x test, y predicted values and y test values. Okay, let's just plot the graph. This is my scatter plot between x test and y predict. Let me just include a line graph inside this also, so that it's clear that which one is our. Okay, so I'm going to give here y predicted values, y predicted values, and this y underscore train values. Okay, so well, let's just give it here x train, x test values to be precise. Okay, here x test. I'm just plotting the testing data, not the training data. Okay, I'm just going to plot the testing data. capital Y. Let us remove this color. It's saying both of different sizes. X and Y are of different size. Okay, let's just check the size. Include some rows here. Next test 152 rows, 30 column. 152 rows. Okay. Y test 152 rows. Okay. X test. Okay. Because see here we are not able to plot a scatter plot because in X test we don't have only one feature, we have multiple features. Okay. So we are not able to plot an scatter plot in this case. Okay. So what we can do is we can just plot a scatter plot between X predicted values and Y predicted values and Y tested values. Y underscore. So it's underscore predict. Okay. Now see, but I'm not here able to visualize that which values are my predicted values and which values are my tested values. Okay. Let's see this error. So in this case, I'm getting this error to be 30% or 30. Okay. This is my 30 error. Means the mean square error which I'm getting here is 30. Okay. Now if I try to plot my delta values, which is my error values between by test and by predict. See here, I'm trying to plot delta values, which is the difference between my by test and by predicted values. Okay. So I'm getting these values. Okay. So this is what I'm going to get an error. The maximum error which I'm getting is 0.14 and the minimum error is 0. So some points are coinciding and some points are not. Okay. Let let me see my by predicted values. Okay. So these are my by predicted values. In the same way, let me see my by test values also. In the same way, let me see my by test values also. So it will be much more clear with help of this graph, not the other graph. Okay. So these are my by tested value. These are my by predicted values. And when I subtract both of them, I'm getting this type of error values. Okay. But the error is here 30. So what I can deduce from this error is this is my mean square error, which is the difference between the original point and the residual point. But the main thing which I'm not able to know is that how much data or how much data is completely fitted on this y predicted value, or the data want to predict that. Okay, the prediction I'm making, how much accurate my prediction is. Okay, I'm not getting any accuracy percentage. Okay, are you able to understand that I'm not able to get any accuracy percentage? I'm getting the error, but I'm not able to get any accuracy percentage. So what I should do to get that accuracy percentage, that how much data is accurately fitting and how much data is not fitting accurately to my predictions. Okay, how to get that accuracy percentage? One way is to check the accuracy. We got the same error while checking. Yeah, because this plotting is only done for one single variable. In X test and in X train, we have in for X we have multiple different positions, and for all that position we cannot point a plot a different plot. So you can predict or you can plot something different like this line graph for X train differently and Y train differently. Okay. Now I'm not able to get the accuracy percentage. So to get the accuracy percentage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow a ordinary least square approach. Ordinary least square approach. I'm just going to give you this link in the chat again. Okay. When you are going to click on that link, you are going to see, okay, you are going to see a line with different points. Okay, a line with different points, and it's an interactive figure. So in real time, we are calculating the value of M and C for the different values of X. Okay. So what will the best value of M and C for all the values of X? See here, this X, in X we have hand size, and from the size of our hand we are trying to predict the height. Okay. From the size of our hand, we are trying to predict the height of a human being. Okay. So let's see if I'm changing this value. See here, if I'm changing this value of X here, that at this particular size of hand, the height of person is here. You can see that value of M and C is changing at that particular time. The value of M and C is also changing, and this red line is my best predicted line. This red line is my best predicted line. So you can see that for all the different values of X, my best predicted line is also changing. For all the different values of X, my best predicted line is also changing, and my values of M and C is also changing. This is what we are trying to do right now. Okay, this is what we are trying to do right now, is we are trying to find the values of M and C which will best fit for my line, but we are not able to see that how much data we are able to predict correctly and how much data we are not able to predict. For that, we introduce a concept of ordinary least square, which is also known as R square. Okay, ordinary least square, which is also known as R square. So here you can see different values of M and C. This is your M. This is your M and your C. And you can see that for different values of M and C, what is the error? Okay, the residual error. This is the error for all the points. And in mean square error, we are going to just do the square and do the summation of this error. Okay, we are just calculating the residual distance from the original point and the predicted point with the help of a graph. Oh, okay, so see, okay, if I'm trying to change the value of C, the error is increasing and decreasing depending on the conditions. Okay, and if I'm trying to change the value of M, then also the error is increasing and decreasing. Okay, so we have to predict a value of M and C in so that the summation of all these values or the summation of all this error is minimum. Okay, the summation of all this error is minimum, because OLS is concerned with the square of error. Okay, because in mean square error we calculate the square of error. So in the same way in OLS we also calculate the square of error. Okay, see here you can see the square error are represented as a square, and your job is to choose a beta, slope and intercept of the regression so that the total area of all the square and the sum of all the square error is as small as possible. That's OLS, ordinary least square. Okay, ordinary least square. Okay, and if you want to have a visualization of gradient descent in this case also, then you can see here, this is your gradient descent plane. If the points lie on this plane, you have zero error. But if the point does not lie on this plane, because this plane shows your best fit line. Okay, this plane shows your best fit line, or the plane on which your best fit line has been drawn here. Okay, so our main goal is to plot all the points on this point so that our error is, this is what gradient descent is. It tries to find the minimum value of m and c so as the error is minimum and all the points lie on this particular plane. This is what your gradient descent is. So you can see that if I'm changing this value of x, the distance from this plane is increasing and this error is also increasing. You can see that it's the square area. This is the error. And if I'm bringing this line closer to the plane, okay, see here in this plane, this is my best predicted line. Okay, if I'm bringing this point closer to this plane, I'm able to see a minimum error. I'm able to see a minimum error. So this, see this set point has showing me the maximum error nowadays. Now I want to reduce this error, so I'm just going to bring this closer to the line or to the plane. Okay. So we are taking here two different features of hand size, not just one, two different features of hand size, and here we are going to calculate the plane. I've already told you that we can have more than one features. Okay. So I'm not just here just taking one feature, but I'm taking two features, hand size and hand size again, just splitting the features so as to get the minimum error. Okay. Am I clear to you guys? Please go through this link and try to visualize your concepts of linear square or ordinary linear square OLS method. Please go through this link and try to visualize your concept of linear regression and ordinary linear square. Okay. Now, if we try to plot this, the same concept which we have discussed about ordinary least square, which will give us a new value which is also known as R square. If we try to plot this on the same example here, let's here. Okay. So here this is our same example, the year of experience and salary. Okay, the year of experience and salary. Okay, so see, I'm just again going to just plotting the scatter plot between year of experience and salary, and I'm trying to again divide this in x and y, two different parts, and then we'll divide in x train and y train. Okay, then we'll again divide it into x train and y train. After dividing, I'm predicting the fit command. that how much value I'm able to predict with the help of this linear regression, and I'm plotting this line which I'm able to get. So this red line is my predicted line, which I'm able to predict with the help of y predict, y equals to mx plus c for one good value of m and what the best value of c according to me, my equation. Okay, and this dots are all the original point of x and y, and this blue points or dots are all the original values of x and y. Now, to check the r square, I have to do nothing, just I have to import here r square. From sklearn matrix, import r square. Okay, I have done this above only. Let me just do it here again. Okay, so when I'm running this r square, you can see that I'm able to get a 95%. Okay, this r square means that my y data, okay, the output data and the predicted data is 95% same. 95% of my y data is same as my y predicted values. Okay, 95% of my y data is same as my y predicted values. Only 5% of data is not same. Okay, the best possible score is 1, and it can be negative because of the model. Okay, so it can have a minimum value of 0 and a maximum value of 1, and it has two features, y true and y predicted. Y true are the original values and y predicted are the my predicted values. So it basically shows me that how much predicted values coincide with the actual values. Okay, how much predicted values coincide with the actual values. See here, we have given some examples in the chat also, in this shift tab also. So you can see that we are taking by true values, then by predicted values, and we are taking the r square value. Again, by true, y and r square values. Okay. So you can have a look at here also. If none of the values is matching, then we'll have 0 result. And if all the values are matching, then we'll have a maximum value of 1. Okay. So 1 means our model is exactly fitting the predicted values, exactly fitting the actual values. Now, in this case, we are getting an accuracy of 95%. So what I want from you guys is to apply the same R square concept, on your Boston dataset. Okay, I want you to apply your same R square concept on your Boston dataset and get an accuracy percentage or get an R square value percentage, so that we get a clear understanding that how much accuracy you are able to get, how much your predicted data is able to fit the original data. Okay, try to plot an R square value for this. Try to plot an R square value for this and submit me in the assignment. And also, I'm going to give you one more data set in the assignment. You can try to follow the same regression concept on that particular data set also. You can try to follow that same regression concept on this particular data set also. See here, I'm getting an accuracy of 70%, 69.5 means 70% only. Okay. So you can take a dataset from your own for your practice from this UCLE library also. And I will also provide you with some of the dataset in the your assignment section also. Okay. Is the concept of R square clear to you guys? Is the concept of R square clear to you guys? Or nahi least square? R square is just a mathematical representation of OLS, ordinary least square, which will give me that how much data we are able to fit, how much predicted data if we are able to fit on that original data set. Okay, am I clear to you guys? Do you have any doubt? Please let me know in the chat. Don't worry, I will provide this code to you guys.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in multiple features, we can't able to picturize our linear data, no, sir. Then how can we train a means get the output from the original one?
If for multiple features, don't try to print the x-axis. Okay, just try to print the y values. Okay,
Okay,
just try to print the y values. See here, I'm just trying to print the y values because in x we have multiple different features and we can print one feature at a time. Okay, so you can, if you want to plot all the multiple features, you can use a pair plot.
okay,
Okay, we have already discussed what is pair plot. If you don't know, just search for it, and you will in that pair plot you will be able to plot the output for each and every feature. Suppose if I have 10 features, so it will plot 10 different figures for each input feature and the relationship with that input feature of output feature. Okay,
okay,
now we have one more thing which is known as multi-collinearity. Okay, multi-collinearity. In this, what we are able to see is that if we have multiple features, okay, suppose if we have multiple features, so do we require all the features for our linear regression, or we can drop some of the features? Okay, so from the stats documentation which I have given to you, you can see what is collinearity. I think, yeah, we can drop some of the features if their collinearity is high. Means what is collinearity is, suppose we have two features, okay, and by changing one of the features, our output is changing by one unit, and by changing the other feature, like suppose we have two features like x1 and x2, and our output is y. So if we are changing or increasing the value of x, then the value of y is increasing, and if we are decreasing the value of x2, then the value of y is decreasing. So we can say that the value of x1 and x2 are interlinked or interrelated. If, okay, so what I'm trying to say that if x1 is directly proportional to x2, means if we are changing the value of x1, then the value of x2 is automatically changing. Okay, if the value of x1 is if we are changing the value of x1 and then the value of x2 is automatically changing, then we can drop any one of the feature like x1 and x2, because it will have same effect on our output. Both the features are having the same effect on our output. This is known as collinearity. This is known as collinearity. Okay, so see the dataset. In this dataset, I am taking four features. Three are my input features and one is my output feature. So I have to predict a sales of any company with the help of their advertisement. So they do advertisement in three different forms. They do TV advertisement, they do radio advertisement, and they do newspaper advertisement. Okay. So based on all these three different advertisements, I have to predict the output, or I have to predict the values. Okay. So let's just try. So because I have three features, I'm just adding a random feature, a constant value on my own. See here, I'm guessing a constant value of x just to give you a clear understanding of collinearity. I'm just adding this constant value. You don't need to add this constant feature. I'm just adding a new feature with the help name constant, which will have value of x, which is nothing but 1. Okay. Now I'm trying to fit this on my ordinary least square model. Okay. See here, statics model. not on the linear regression, but I'm just trying to fit in on the least square based on the help of stats. Okay, I'm not plotting here machine learning graph, machine learning. That's why I'm not changing it into training and testing part, because for machine learning we require training and testing part. But I'm not trying in here to create a model. I'm just trying to give here the value of R square and the correlation. That's why I'm using the stats model, stat modeling. Well, I will be giving the all the values of x and y to get an ordinary least square, sm.ols. Right? Okay, if you do shift and tab, then you are going to get a complete detail that this is an ordinary least square calculating model. Okay, this model will calculate only the ordinary least square value or the R square value for your model. Okay, it will not predict output for your future values. Okay, this is not a machine learning model. Okay, so for all the values of ordinary least square, I'm giving passing the values of x and y, and I'm trying to fit the values only in a variable known as model, and then I'm going to get a model summary. Okay, so in the model summary you can see that my R square value is 0.89. My I square value is 0.89, and we have one more thing which is known as adjusted R square to minimize the error of R square, which is 0.89. Means I can say that my 89%, or to be precise 90% of the data, to the 90% of predicted data is fitting on the best fit line. The 90% of the actual data is fitting on the predicted data. Now if I want to check the coefficient, okay, this is the coefficient. If I want to check the correlation, basically, okay, so you can see that the correlation between TV and TV, because both the TVs are same feature, this is 1. But if we check the correlation between TV and radio, okay, the correlation between TV and radio is 0.05. The correlation between TV and newspaper is 0.056. Okay, so it is very less related. Okay, the maximum value of correlation is 1 and the minimum value is -1, because 1 means they are directly correlated and -1 means they are inversely correlated. Okay, so if we have any type of correlation, we just drop that value. So at what particular value you should drop that particular feature if the correlation is high? Okay, so if the correlation value is greater than 0.75, sorry, if the correlation values is greater than 0.75, you can drop that particular feature. This value is not a hard and fast rule. Okay, it can change depending on the situation or depending on the data set. Okay, this value can change depending on the situation and depending on the data set. But for your ease and or for your ease of understanding, I'm just giving you a standard value which is 0.75. If the if in any case the correlation is greater than 0.75, you can drop that value. Okay, so let's see example where we have a higher correlation value. Okay, so in the same data set we have already discussed about the year of experience and salary. So we have just added one more feature which is known as age. Okay, let's just see this example. You will be able to clearly get me. Okay, Mahesh. Okay, we have seen this example earlier. We have applied our linear regression model on this. Based on year of experience, we were trying to calculate the salary. Okay, is this clear? Do you remember this model? Based on year of experience, we were trying to calculate the salary. Now I have just added one more feature which is known as age. Okay, I have just added one more feature which is known as age. Okay, now I'm again going to do this division in x and y, two different parts, to show you that what are my input features and what are my output features. So year of experience and age are my input features and salary is my output feature. Okay, year of experience is my input feature Year experience and age is my input feature and salary is my output feature. I have printed the value of X here. So to give you a clear understanding that year experience and age, I am taking two input features and I'm trying to find an output feature. Okay. I'm just again here adding one constant. If you want, you can add. If you don't want, you don't need to add. Okay. And I'm just taking this OLS method to get the best fit line, and to get the R square value. Okay. So in this, you can see that I'm getting this R square value to be 0.96. That my 96% of the printed value fits on my original value or fits on my original asset. The 96% of the printed values fit on the original asset. But if I check the coefficient or if I am going to check the correlation, you can see that the correlation between year of experience and age is greater than 0.98. Okay, the relationship between the year of experience and age is greater than 0.98. So what we can do in this case is that we can drop this age feature. Okay, we can drop this age feature and then again calculate this model summary or again calculate this OLS. Okay, we can just drop this age feature and again calculate this OLS, and then we're able to see that there's only minute change in our squares R square value. But if we are dropping a feature, the calculations became much more easier and the time to do that calculation also decreases, which means our machine complexity and the time for which we are taking a machine or for the time which machine is busy is reduced, and that two features, the time and the for which the machine is busy and the complexity, is these two features are very important in any of the industries. Okay, whether these industries are applying machine learning model or these industries are applying data science model, these two features are very much important for them. Okay, so to reduce that feature, if we have to drop a complete feature, like in this case if we have to drop a complete feature like age, then there's no big deal because it will only slightly change our R square value. Okay, so I will give you again this data set. Try to drop the feature which is known as age and try to compare both the R square values, and then you will be able to completely visualize that what I'm trying to say with the help of this multi-collinearity or this OLS model. Okay, am I clear to you guys now? Okay, so I'll provide you to both the data set, this age data set also and this the data set without age, and you already have the Boston data set. To try to apply this R square concept on a Boston data set and try to apply this OLS model with age feature and without the age feature and compare both the R square values and the time required to calculate the fit condition for with age condition, with age feature and without the age feature. Okay, try to do this, and if you want you can also use UCL repository to get different types of data set. Okay, If you are going to do this, then you will have a clear understanding of what is linear regression. If you are not going to do this task, you won't be able to understand what is basically linear regression to you guys. Okay. Okay, let's just end this class here. Okay, thank you all guys. Thank you all for joining.